varieties are there in case of the product. Suppose if you are using smartphone, for you it is a product, and whatever the applications you have downloaded, these will be acting as a different software. Just like WhatsApp, Instagram, or you are downloading, suppose Zomato app or Uber app, that will be called as application. But for customer, it is just acting as a application, because for customer, smartphone is a product and different software are acting as a application. Whereas in case of the organization, when you are on the organization side, suppose for example, you are on the Facebook. For Facebook, that is acting as a platform, and under different features of Facebook, that is acting as a product. So for customer, you have a main application as a product, but inside you have different features. But for the company, it is acting as a platform, and inside features, these are acting as a product. So it depends upon you how you can visualize the product from various perspectives. Let's talk about the product management. So if you are going to manage the product end to end, suppose starting and towards the end, that whole process is called as product management. In order to understand this product management and kind of roles available in this category, let's have an understanding about how many type of role specialization are included in this product management. Because product management is the really emerging role inside the market. So there are multiple specializations involved in case of the product management. So this is the high-level diagram of product management. So how you can understand this? You have a 4-quadrant model is there. First is your engineering, that is being taken care by the technical team. Second is your operationals, that is being handled by the 24/7 support team. Then you have a strategic team, which is being interfaced by the business development and the strategic goal of the organization. And lastly, you have the marketing and sales, who are acting as a facilitator to generate and drive the revenue within the market. So there are 4 different roles applicable in this product management, and they are overlapping with each other. Now, what is the main role here? The main role is governed by the product manager, because this person is not only dealing with the business team who is taking care of the strategic initiative, when to create product and when you have to launch the product, and also dealing with the technical team to design and develop the product. And simultaneously, they are also dealing with the marketing and sales team, so that the moment the product has been developed, now you can launch it. So overall, this person is acting as a chief executive officer of a single product. You also have a product marketer, whose role is also overlapping with the product manager, who define whether this product is going to launch into the market or not. So complete portfolio of product will be handled by product marketer, whereas single product will be managed end to end by the product manager. We also have technical project manager also, and we also have the sales manager also, but they are more or less handling the technical or tactical or operational roles. Now, if you go holistically in these 3 verticals, let's magnify this particular role. How many roles are there in this upper diagram? So these are the couple of roles which are applicable here. So you have a 3 edges: strategy, marketing, and tactical. Suppose if you are working in a startup, then whatever the roles mentioned on this triangle, that will be managed by a single person only. That is a chief product officer. I repeat, if you are working in a startup, then entire roles which is mentioned in this diagram, that will be handled by CPO, that is chief product officer. But if you are working in a big MNC, just like Accenture, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Netflix, then these roles will be handled by different persons. Like one will be handling the marketing, one will be handling the category management, then digital product marketing, business management, similarly for market planning, technical role, or roadmap architect or solution architect. So depend upon the scale of the organization, your role automatically differs, because you will have a huge count of stakeholders, you have to take strategic decisions, and automatically you have to work for a longer period of time so that you can launch the product early in the market. So that's how different role specializations are there within product management. But main role lies with this vertical, that is the strategy towards the engineering. Means this complete edge that will be managed by the product manager. So let's understand what the product manager actually do. So product manager actually dealing with 3 different parties. First is your end customers. There are basically 4 types of stakeholders are there. Hope you are aware. First is the sponsor, who is investing in your product. Second, that is called as supplier, who provide the material to build your product. Third is the customer, who is actually purchasing your goods and services. And fourth is the user, who is actually consume your services or product. So you have suppliers, you have sponsor, you have customers, and you have your user. So product manager directly dealing with the customers, so that once you build the product, that should be valuable to the customer, so that once they purchase, they should bring value. It should be used by the customer for a longer period of time. And most important, customer can rely on your product because it is a matter of trust, so that they can use for a longer period of time. Coming to the technology, product manager has to check that whether the product is supporting multiple features, but each feature will be compatible with certain technology. So it should be feasible to implement. It should be scalable to measure it, and it should be sustainable for a longer period of time. You cannot build a product which just survive in the market for 1 week. At least it should survive for minimum 1 or 2 years down the line. So that's how the technology architecture needs to be taken care. And last is the business. Obviously, when you are building a product, that it should be profitable, it should generate revenue, it should be marketable, and it should be adaptable to the different categories of the user. So in a nutshell, product manager solve the real problems of the customers and generate business revenue when customers start consuming it. So this is an intersection role of the product manager, which is dealing with customer, technology, and the business. Now in market, you see there are multiple roles are there for the product manager, and similar roles also there. So how they are different from each other? On a broader level, I will give you this difference. All the roles are starting with the P. You have a product manager, you have product owner, you have program manager, and you also have project manager. This project manager role is just a small role, which is just a part of the coordination. Just small project that person is handling. Whereas program manager is little bit bigger than project manager role, so that you can handle multiple projects of similar category. Then you have the product owner if you are working in agile, so that you deliver features one by one. That is called as product owner. Whereas product manager is basically dealing the roadmap and decide the focus for product market fit. So your product market fit is completely managed by the product manager. That's why this role is very, very important. And deciding the product market fit is just one function of your product manager. So product manager role is very big, but product market fit is just one of the function or one of the role which is being governed by the product manager. That's why this is very, very important element, because focus is towards the product market fit, whereas rest of the roles are directly dealing with the features, requirement, or coordination. Now, so far, any doubt, please do let me know about this overview. If you have any doubt, please do let me know.
Sir, it's clear. I guess you're good to go ahead.
Okay, great. Okay, great. So let's move further now. So now we will discuss about the product lifecycle journey. Now this product lifecycle journey is a very, very important aspect, especially all the marketer has to become aware about this. There are 4 stages are there in case of product lifecycle journey or product lifecycle management. Some books are also showing you 5 phases. So 5/5 will be your innovator. That will come at the first. But holistically, there are 4 major phases or 4 life cycle stages are there in product management. So let's discuss one by one, because this is very important to understand the product market fit. First is your introduction stage. Introduction stage means when your product is just built up and now it is introduced into the market. The product which is built by the technical team or research and development team, you have just created and now you are going to launch into the market. That is called as introduction. So introduction word comes from the product is entered into the market. Now your business development team become active and your sales distribution also come into the picture. They have to ensure the availability of the product with the right price, with the right segment of the customers. That's how you will take the takeoff position. But here in this introduction phase, very little amount of customers are aware. Unless you do extensive branding, campaigning, or launch the product, then only they become aware of. So low volume of sales will be observed, but initially the cost will be very high of your product. Means per unit cost will be very high. But there is always uncertainty whether your product will be successful or not. So financial losses are very high. Uncertainty will be there. But this product will be used by the innovator who are actually tech savvy. That only customers can use this particular product. But in the introduction phase, very low amount of competitors will be there because you are the only player who have created this product. So less competitor will be there in this introduction. The moment you take off, then immediately your strategy will be changed in terms of marketing. Now, once it is introduced and you get the live feedback from a couple of the customers, then you will change the strategy to increase the market share. So automatically your sales volume will start increasing. And when the sale is increasing, your variable cost will reduce. The cost is composed of two parameters, fixed cost and variable cost. When you are generating the product in multiple units, the per unit cost will be drastically reduced. So fixed cost will be same, variable cost will be drastically reduced. And it will automatically pick up the customers. That's why it is called as growth state. After some point of time, you have to deal with multiple competitor when you are at the peak stage of the growth. After some time, the market got stagnated, you reach at the maturity stage. Means after this particular point, no further peak will be observed ever again. That is called as maturity. So market got stagnated for your product. So customers are maximum, and now they slowly start detracting and joining your competitor. That's why no further peak sales will be observed and profit got declining. Customers also start detracting towards your competitors, and automatically you will have a lot of competition applicable in this market. So saturation point will come up and no further sales will observe. And thereafter the decline phase will start when continuously falling in the sales will be observed and cost will be very high again, and profit margin will be drastically reduced. And once you reach at this point, now you realize that no further sale will be observed. And once it is again processed this line, then there is no point to do the business with the consisting product, because this phase is completely your operational losses and this is your profit. So there is no point to do the business with the product if you are facing a huge operating losses with respect to the product. So immediately you take the decision to stop the product availability into the market. Or if suppose it's available, you stop providing your support. So that cycle is called as product life cycle management. And the person who is managing this, that person is called as product manager. Is this clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
It's clear.
Okay, great. I can see that there is no doubt so far. So guys, please, I request you don't feel shy. If you face any doubt, you can also unmute and ask also before proceeding further. Okay. Great. So let's move forward now. Now coming to the user base. So how many type of users are there? As I mentioned, holistically there are 4 phases are there, but in few books you can see one phase is also there, that is called as research and development. So this research and development basically dealing with the technical team who are the first person who are actually using your product. So these are the 5 phases are there, and based upon these 5 phases we have mapped the users. So how many type of users are there? So because market is based upon the user, so you need to take care about the user. So how many type of users are there? 5 category of users are there. The first category of user are basically innovators, who are actually high risk taking ability, who have just the first person who is actually using the product. Hope you have seen in the older days, especially go back 5 years back, whenever iPhone used to launch the new model, and people are very crazy, especially the adult generation who belongs to the age of 20 to 25. They stand midnight in the queue and they are waiting to get the first iPhone in their hand. These category of the customers are basically innovators who don't care about the cost, who don't care about their money. They want to try the first iPhone itself. So that customers are basically your innovator. They are taking higher risk. These percentage of people are very less, hardly 2.5%. Then your second category of customer will come up who will support into your introduction phase. That is called as early adopter. These customers will rely on the feedback of innovator. After 1 week or 2 weeks, they start observe the product, whether it is being sold and available. Then they start using the product. That is constitute around 13.5% of the product. Thereafter, the third category of the customer become active, which is called as early majority. Now, these customers are those customers who initially are skeptical to purchase a product, but they are waiting to get the feedback from early adopter, and they are waiting for the price to be lowered down. Just like suppose you are going to purchase a smartphone, but you are purchasing after 1 month. When Amazon or Flipkart suppose making a tie-up with a bank and you get the smartphone in 0% EMI. Or suppose you are getting instant cash back. So that category of customers are basically a early majority. So you will get the product as a decent price. Simultaneously, you will get a large chunk of the feedback from early adopters. That's why 34% of the customer margin lies under this early majority, who are supporting the growth of the product. And thereafter, late majority customer become active, who are highly skeptical earlier. But now, once newer version of the product has launched, and price is drastically reduced, just like iPhone 10 has launched and previous iPhone 8 price has been lower. So iPhone 8 will start getting pick up the market. So that customers are basically your late majority, when you are getting the product at half of the price. And lastly, you have laggards. These customers are senior citizen category of the customers who are forced to use this product because there is no other option available in the market. Just like suppose right now you have iPhone 10, but they are using iPhone 5. 2 or 3 generation back, the product they are using, because right now there is no quadric keyboard smartphone is available in the market. So they are forced to use, and they get the product at the cheapest price. So whenever revenue start declining, they get large amount of value from the laggards customer. So that's how when you are making a product, you need to figure it out each and every category of the customer so that you can serve it. So each and every user fit should be there with respect to their different categories. So you cannot sell the product for one category of user, because in market you have different user. And not only user, you have to understand their behavior, their attitude. Attitude means what customers say. Behavior means what customer do. So you have to get the sample size of the customer, understand their need and expectations, and then create the strategy and then sell the product. So every cycle is having a different product market fit. That's how you are able to sell the product. But in this, between these two, early adopter and early majority, you have a chasm. This stage is very, very important. This is very, very important because the marketing strategy automatically change between early adopter to early majority. Because in early adopter, your focus is to generate higher sales. But in case of growth stage, now your focus has been changed. Not only you have to just pick up the sales, but simultaneously retaining the existing customer and also take their feedback seriously. And most important is you should provide better service quality to these particular customers. That's why this stage is very, very important. That is called a chasm. Means not only just acquiring new customer, but simultaneously give best possible quality service to the existing customer. So that if you are acquiring new customer, previous customer should not leave your product. That's why this stage is very, very important. Clear? Siddharth, can you share your doubt, what you mentioned in the chat window? Which part I need to summarize? Please repeat. Can you please unmute yourself? If I go to the last slide, I told you that as a product marketer, you have to make the product by keeping in mind about the user and satisfy their needs and expectations, and make sure you should drive enough value so that you will get maximum sales from each and every set of the customer. Means create a product market fit, keeping in mind for different 5 category of the customer. That's what I will summarize in the last. I will explain this user. This slide will be repeating again and again. Okay. Now coming to the technology adoption cycle. So Siddhant, these are the 5 category of the users. These are the slide has been mentioned here for the detail. So you have an innovator and early adopter. These category of customers are visionaries and enthusiasts because they are the people who are high risk taking ability. They are completely uncertain about the market. But what motivates them to use the product? Because they want to stay ahead of the competitor. They are adventurous. They are risk takers. They are change initiator. Similarly, for early adopter, they get feedback from the innovators and then become influenced to try the product. But these 2 categories never care about the cost. But early majority and late majority are mainstream adopter who are waiting for mass feedback from these 2 set of the customer. And second thing, they are highly price conscious. They are highly price conscious. And lastly, laggards, these are resistors or skeptical. They don't want to use the product, but they are forced to use at the last stage because there is no further option left. That is called as laggards. You can sit down now. Okay, Naira has asked one question. Sir, I actually had a question. You said that after the decline stage, the sales as well as market value of the product drastically reduced. But we have seen a lot of product resurface after decline. That is not the original product, Naira. That is about the upgraded or enhanced product. If you are continuously upgrading your product, then your product can survive for a longer period of time. Let me go back to this one. When you upgrade the product, this curve will be go like this. This curve will be go like this. So your product life cycle time will be increased. If you don't upgrade or enhance your product, the curve will be stopped like this. So if you are continuously upgrading, then your curve go like this. So marginal profit you will get it, but product will be same. I will give you a simple example. Suppose you are using Android phone, which is running on suppose Android 8 version. But if you enhance the existing hardware of the smartphone with Android 10, or suppose iOS 13 to iOS 14, then customer will continue to use the same smartphone because it will give you new customer experience with the help of bundling. That's how you can sustain your product for a longer period of time. If you see iPhone 5 is still there in the market. Why? Because it is still compatible with the iOS 13. But if it is not supporting iOS 13, then immediately customers stop using it. Because if you don't get the valid features, how you can do that? If you are not able to make a voice call or video call with the help of WhatsApp, why you will use the iPhone 5? Immediately you will stop. So up to a certain point of time, when your upgradation is there, then you can continuously use it. Clear, Naira? Naira, is this clear? Okay, thank you. So that was about technology adoption cycle. So now we will come back to the main topic, that is your product market fit. So where this concept will be used? This concept will be used majorly in the startup or MNCs. This concept will be used majorly for both startups as well as MNCs, but heavily used in case of the startup. Because once you are opening your company into the market, then there is a high level of uncertainties there. Because you are investing a huge amount, and if by chance, suppose your first product failed, then you are not able to proceed further with your startup. It will be heavy loss. So what is the stats here? 9 out of 10 products always fail in the market. And due to the product failure, majority of the startup also fail. Why? Because they lack vision, they don't know where to start, they don't have proper planning, they don't identify the customers, and they don't identify the real problem. That's why 9 out of the 10 product always fail. And 66% of the startups or companies drastically change their original plan. Means suppose if I am the product manager, if I had start any product right now, and I take minimum 30 days to build a particular product, but after 25 days, I immediately change my plan. Why? Because I will not able to identify what's happening after 25 days in the market. So market is continuously changing. Nobody has predict that COVID will come now. Immediately it has come up all of a sudden, and all the marketing strategies of major companies has been changed. All the things are now online. Suppose if you are building a product before March 2020, last year March 2020, and after just COVID, how you can sell the product? Immediately you have to change your plan. So 66% of the companies drastically change your original plan. And nowadays, post-COVID, this percentage has been increased to 78% because of high level of market uncertainty. Okay. Now, not a better plan A, but a path to the plan that works. Always you should have a disaster plan, disaster or backup plan, so that if one plan is not working, then second plan will definitely work. Now, what is the plan that actually works in the market? Your plan should be scalable, something you can measure, something you can repeat again and again in the future. It should not be static, it should be dynamic. And last, it should be having a sustainable business model. Business model means it should be able to drive profitable outcome for a particular set of the customers. That should be there. If this plan includes 3 ingredients, then definitely your product will be successful in the market. So 9 out of 10 product will fail because sometimes it is not scalable, sometimes it is not repeatable, and you don't have a clarity about the business model. Now, product market fit is the first thing that matters. But it is a very, very big concept. It's not a small concept. It's a very big concept. So in order to understand this product market fit, you need to have a clarity what is product, what is market, and how they are merged with each other. What is the connection between both of them? Okay. So in order to understand the market part, you need to have a clarity about the organization. In organization, you prepare both business model as well as business plan. Now, I will ask question to all of you. What is business plan or what is business model? How they are different from each other? What is business model and what is business plan? Where they are used? Anyone would like to share thoughts? If you want to unmute, you can speak. There is no problem. No idea.
So I can give it a try. So maybe business model is the mechanism through which the company generates its profit, and business plan is actually the document presenting the company's strategy and expected performance in the future.
Absolutely correct. Great. Thank you so much. So business plan is a document for investors. They ask you to write, but 99% they don't read it. Now, why they ask you to create the document? Because when you are going for pitching and when you are going for investment, they always want to have a business plan. They always want to hear your business plan, but they actually don't see your document. But business model is the model which represent your business, how you can drive your business, how the business will come. That is called as your business model. So business model is for the company, business plan is for the stakeholders, that is your investors. That's how they are different from each other. Now, in case of the business model, you have to understand there are various ingredients out there. This is actually a lean canvas model. This is a lean canvas model, which is derived from the business model canvas. So in this lean canvas model, you have a 2 dimension. First is taking care of the product and second is case of the market. So under the product, your different parameters will come up. What is the problem? What is the solution? What top 3 problems or top 3 features you are providing? What matrices you are going to measure? And what is the cost structure? How much cost is involved? And coming to the unique selling proposition means how your product differentiate with respect to your competitor. How your product is different from the rest of the market. That is come under your USP. Coming to the market, you have to consider about your customer segment, the channel partner, that is your sales and distribution, or unfair advantage, how they can easily copy it or not. And lastly, what will be your revenue streams? Means how you can sell it. Just like Uber is having multiple streams. You can use Uber Pool also. You can use Uber Go also. multiple products are there, multiple channels are there, so how you are getting the revenue part. So that will come under your revenue stream. So this is your lean canvas model. So left part will be derived by the product, and simultaneously you have to focus on the market part. That is a high level overview of the business model. Now, your product is not just a product which is providing the solution. Please remember this concept. Your product is not only the product which is just providing the solution. Rather, your product is a business model. Your product is a complete business model which can generate revenue from multiple sources, from multiple segments, and then you can satisfy your customers. Now, when you are going to create a business model, so multiple ideas will come into your mind. So you have to brainstorm possible models, but you have to select only one. And but how you can select? You have to prioritize it. Where you can start. So the first priority should be given to the customer pain level. Means what problem you are going to solve for a customer. What customer want. Suppose if you are going to create a product for the blind customers so that they can withdraw cash from the ATM. Or suppose you are preparing a vending machine for the blind person. So that is the main requirement of the customer, which is not solved by the competitor product. So first you need to prioritize based upon customer pain level. Second, how you can easily provide reachability to the customer. Means customer can start assessing your product or not. That is your ease of reach. And third, how much benefit you are getting in terms of the profit. That is price of the gross margin. And lastly, how much potential customer market size are there. If suppose you are selling the product to one or two customers, then it will be very dangerous for your business. At least you should have millions of customers also. Otherwise, why you are putting so much effort? At least you should have a sizable amount of your market. That's how the customer will start using it. So how to gauge for constant changes in the market and process your product accordingly. That you need to understand while keeping an eye about the technology change, and second, your competition behavior and user behavior. And accordingly, you have to prioritize those parameters. Okay, Ashi? Now, after giving the prioritization, you need to identify the riskiest part of the model. Now, under this risk, the first part is your market uncertainty, just like COVID is there. That is the first riskiest part. Whether your business model is compatible to handle the uncertainty. And if you are able to explore opportunity in every uncertainty, then your product has been designed for the best market fit. That's how you can sell that. So just like example, you have Byju's, you have the Zoom, you have the broadband service company, you have the courier company. They all are earning a huge profit nowadays. Even IT companies, you can take the example, they are earning huge profit. Why? Because due to COVID, all offices are closed. And every office, they are spending around 45 lakhs rupees per building on operational cost. Now it is same. But every opportunity brings uncertainty. So you need to plan your model according to that. So that will come under your riskiest part. Now there are three stages of startups are there if you are going to build up your product. So stage one is called as problem solution fit. That is called as problem solution fit. Second is called as product market fit, and third is your scale. So what is problem solution fit? Do I have a problem while solve? If you don't have the problem, then what solution you are going to provide to the customer? You are building a product to solve a problem. If there is no problem, then why you are building the product? That is the first fundamental question. Second, have I built something people want? If you are building something which customer don't require at all, then who is going to use your product? And third, how you can accelerate your growth, how you can pick up the market, how you can increase the customer base. That is also very important. Now coming to this, the stage, problem solution fit to product market fit, this is called as before product market fit. But here your vision will be different. You have to focus on the quality, because if quality is not provided to the customer, then customer leave away. And you have to learn from your experiments. That is called as validated learning. Whereas the second stage, after product market fit, your focus should be on the growth. how you can acquire new customer, how you can retain existing customers, and now focus is on the number. That is your quantity. That's how your strategy will change before product market fit and after product market. So these are the fundamental questions you need to consider while creating any product market plan. So far, any doubt, please do let me know. As a startup, we can't be spending on advertisement in the very beginning. So how do you suggest advertising the product we offer? You cannot give the mass advertising to the product you offer. You have to first offer the product to your own colleagues, to your own friend circle, or your own professional circle, so that they can start giving the feedback. Because early feedback is important. If they are satisfied, then you can go for the mass advertisement at one channel. Then pick up the second channel, and then put up the campaign on complete market segment. That's how you need to go stage by stage. Because if you directly go to the mass level, then automatically the risk will be very high. You don't have to take the risk at the initial stage, because risk is inversely proportional to your investment. Okay. Now coming to that, matrices. So there are 5 categories of matrices are there: acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, and referral. These matrices are very important to evaluate product market fit. So let me explain these matrices first. Acquisition means you have acquired a new customer and they have signed up at your page. Just like suppose you have the customers have downloaded the Uber app and they have created the account. That is called as acquisition customers. How do the customer find you? After sign up. Second is activation. Activation means customers have purchased something, and after purchasing they have received first experience. Means they have booked the first ride, and after that they have the experience to share it. That is called as activation. Third is retention. How many existing customers are coming back again and again to book a ride for the Uber? Or suppose Zomato. How many returning customers are booking the meal from the Zomato app again and again? That is your retention. And then you have revenue. How much total revenue you are receiving after one financial year? And last, the referral. The existing customer, how many existing customers they have referred others. And this is purely based upon your feedback and word of mouth stats. That is called as referral. So these are the founding blocks for your product market fit. So now we'll start about what is product market fit. So now there is an agenda for that. So what is product market fit? This is a famous quote which is given by Mark Anderson. He says that product market fit means there is a good market in which your product can satisfy the market. There is an existing market in which your product satisfies the market. If your product is not satisfy the sizable customer, then you cannot say that you have a product market fit. But in that sizable market, you should also have sizable customers also. And with that sizable customer, you should sell the value to the customer. Means a sizable group of people, means target market size, should always find enough value in your product to exchange something from it. Now what they exchange? They will exchange revenue. They will give back value. That is the ideal definition of product market by two different people. So either you consider for the market or either you consider for the customer, because customer is the king of the market. So you have to think from the customer perspective. If customer problem is not resolved, then how can you say that my product is fit for the market? But not only one customer, complete market segment should say that your product is solving our problem. Then only you can say my product is market fit. Now, where this product market fit lies? So this is the same diagram which I shared you earlier. Development, introduction, growth, maturity, decline. So your product market fit lies here. Immediately when you have the inflection point from introduction to growth, your company strategy will be automatically changed from initially you are acquiring the customers, you are in the launching phase, and now you are retaining the existing customer and picking up new customers, provide quality service and focusing on their feedback so that it will gives the chain reaction to increase more and more customers. That's how the thing will improve drastically. Now coming to further that, for product market fit, you need traction. Now what is traction? Traction means, I'm giving you a very example in layman terms. When you are posting something, suppose on LinkedIn or suppose Facebook or something else, you get likes or comments also on your post. There is one more parameter also there which is giving you as views. How many people has viewed your article or post? That is called as traction. So how many people are tracking your product into the market? That is called as traction. So traction means is a measure of the product engagement with the market. If customers are not interacting with the users, then how you can say that it is gaining a huge traction? And investors focus on the traction only, because traction will indirectly drive the revenue. If customers are not engaging with the product, then how they can sell it? If they are not purchase your product, then how they can retain it? If they are not returning back, then how they can give good word of mouth to refer others? So these are dependent upon each other. That's why traction is very important. So where these traction matrices are there? I told you about 5 matrices. So traction matrices are basically your revenue and retention. And rest 3 matrices are your growth metric. First, I will tell you what is metric. Metric is a performance indicator which will give you the total volume of the customer interacting with your product. That is called as metric. So every product, your performance has to be monitored. Just like suppose you are visiting Amazon. So at a given point of time, how many customers are logging into the Amazon? Let's take example of Zomato. How many customers are actually purchasing the meal at a given point of time? That will be captured in the metric. So out of that metric, how many are retaining and how many generate the revenue? That will be called as traction, and rest are in the growth because they are generating the revenue. So traction metrics, these two, retention and revenue, are before product market fit. PMF is product market fit, and acquisition, activation, and referral, they are after product market. So far, any doubt, please do let me know. Is it clear? Okay. Now, what are those retention matrices? Retention matrices are those matrices who are actually those customers who are returning again and again. Means frequent purchaser of your product and services. Revenue means the total captured value when your product is getting sold. When you are getting paid, that is derived by the revenue. It's very simple to understand. Now, how you can understand about your product market fit? How you can involve into this? So, as someone has asked in the chat window a couple of minutes back, that how you can keep track about the upgradation or enhancement or market changes. So you need to become dynamic. When you create your plan, you have to prepare mentally, physically, psychologically to change your plan at any given point of time, depending upon the market condition. So before market condition, whatever you learn, you have to quickly change also, depending upon the situation. So you have to collect the newest evidence and change your opinion before your actual product launch. So you should be properly aware of this. So make things that people want. Don't make those things which people don't want. If you prepare those things, then nobody will start purchase or consuming your product and services. Now product market fit is having 2 parts. One is having product and second is having market. But product part you don't control, because once this product is prepared, it's very difficult to control it because it involves a huge amount of cost. The only thing you can control is the market. Now, how you can control? Sell the product to a couple of customers, get the feedback and imply their learnings, and then sell it, and then take the feedback and then sell it. It means you have to do experiment again and again. If you fail, then learn. If again fail, then learn. Continuously learning, unlearning you have to do, and then finally you become succeed. So this process you need to repeat again and again for 5 different categories of the customer, which I told you. You have innovators, early adopter, early majority, late majority, and laggards. So continuous experiment and learning you have to carry out for your product market fit. So you have to identify why they are not using your product, because that feedback is very important. So that's why I told you product part you cannot control, but market part you can control, and that's how you can control. Okay, so how you can control the market? So first of all, you need to identify a sizable market that has a problem which is worth solving. After you identify a sizable market, then you have to design the product, and then you have to implement the product. I will discuss this in next couple of slides about how you can identify the target market size. So if you want to explore more about this data, there are 3 good books are there on the screen. If you have time, then definitely go through that. The first is your customer discovery, which is based upon the 4 steps of the epiphany. Then you have a lean startup, and then you have the learning. So these are the best books which can cover up your basics on the product market fit and the matrices part. Now let's jump into the market trap or market fit. So in the market, you have a complete set of the customers. You have a complete bundle of the customers are there. But you are not targeting the complete market, because every market is having certain good customers, or you also have bad customers. Or you also have those customers who have the typical mindset who don't want to try your product. So you cannot try to sell your product to that customers. So you have to identify the target customers whom you feel that they can give you the feedback. Okay, so how you can try? So you can directly sell to the market, and their customer growth will come like this. So as a startup, you start here with the 0 customer, and slowly you will pick up the growth. So this is your ideal line. But actually this ideal line will never become actual line. So the actual line will become like this. That is your S-curve. S-curve is basically heuristic curve, and this curve is derived based upon the different category of the user when you are targeting to sell your product. When I told you about this parabolic curve, that is the reverse parabolic curve which is available in the S-curve. So early majority, the customer are less. That's why you have a lower customer growth, and afterward when late majority come up, then another 34% customer add up along with laggards, then you have a down, you can say upward curve. Earlier you have a declining curve, and then you have a declining curve, upward curve. That's how you can compensate your growth. So this is the way you can understand your market. So far, any doubt, please do let me know. Okay, great. Now, as I mentioned earlier, your product market fit lies in this early majority only. Your product market fit is just after the chasm state, after just your beginning of your early majority stage, when your customer strategy will be automatically changed in terms of marketing. But you have to cross the chasm. This is the main barrier to achieve the product market fit, which I already explained you with the previous diagram. But holistically speaking, there are actually 2 markets here for startup. There are 2 different markets. So one market is governed by early adopter, and second is governed by early maturity. Why? Because this early adopter is having 12.5%, and early majority is having 34% of the customers. That is really important for you. If you made a mistake here, then your product will be collapsed, and you are not able to sell the product to the customer. That's why this strategy is very, very important. So who are your early adopter customer? Who are your early majority? You need to identify. If you make a reverse experiment, then you will get horrible result. Let me show you how you can mentally. So there are 3 different categories of customers are there in the initial phase. So innovators are high risk taker, which I told you, often young. Early adopter are careful risk taker, but they are opinion leader. And last, early majority are those customers who are waiting for the price to lower down, but they take the feedback from the early adopter. So each and every behavior of the customer is dependent upon the different set of the customers. So whatever the experiment you are doing on early adopter, be very careful, because majority customers are relying on the adopters. So why this relevant to getting the product market fit? Why this is important? Why everyone is willing to understand whether your product is market fit or not? To answer this question is, there are actually two product market fit options are there. One is governed by early adopter and second is governed by early majority. If this is successful, then this will definitely become successful. If this is failed, then this will also, chances are there it will also fail. So you need to get product market twice. On a safer side, devise your strategy in for two different set of customers. Now how you can do that? These are the actions for the customer type. So what actions you can do? For innovators, you have to offer MVP. Now what is this MVP? It is a jargon for you, most of you, if you have not studied. MVP means minimum viable product. Means minimum features you need to add into your product so that they can start getting the benefit. Let me give a very simple example. How many of you have visited the Dunkin' Donut? Have you visited? Have you tried donut? Yes or no? Okay. So when you are visiting the Dunkin' Donut or any other shop, then you have seen in the counter there are multiple options are there. You have a plain donut, you have a caramel donut, you have a different flavor donut also. But when you are hungry, and you want to eat on the go, which donut you will prefer? Tell me. Plain donut you will prefer it because it is easy to carry, is it easy to use and easy to consume. But for other flavor, you need to sit there and you have to eat because it is very difficult to handle. So when a person is hungry, doesn't matter whether you offer that caramel or whether you offer chocolate or whether you offer plain, it will satisfy the need of a person because at that moment the person is. But if the person is having luxurious time to spend, then you can sell any flavor of the donut. So the plain donut is acting as an MVP, minimum viable product. Mean minimum feature should be there which can satisfy the need of a customer. What is the need of a customer? So that the person was feeling hungry now becomes satisfied. So you need to offer MVP and get the feedback to the innovator. And based upon this feedback, the early adopter get learning what are the mistakes with the MVP and redesign to create product market fit. And based upon their feedback, you need to reiterate the same and create your product market fit. So your feedback will be dependent upon previous set of things. If you apply this strategy, your product will always be market. Clear? So you have to keep going like this, but make sure you should not go with the false category of the customer, because sometimes what customers say is completely different from what customers think. If you have the biased data, then you will get a wrong strategy for product market fit. So first identify the right sample. That is very, very important. Now there is an example I am going to share. That is a Chef-In, a famous startup. There initially the product failed. Why? Because what mistake they have made? They sold their first early product to the early majority. They have bypassed the early adopters. They directly sell to the early majority. And once they start using it, they get the feedback was horrible. And people are getting raising the complaint to get refund, and they have to refund it. That's why their initial product was failed. So what they learned from this, they have repositioned the product to the innovators, which were just small amount of customers, and when they reposition, then they pick up the growth. So this will help for getting the referral and credible perspective. That's how they can sustain their business model for a longer period of time. Now the last is scaling beyond product market fit. What is beyond your product market fit? So you should not say that I have achieved the stage 2, now I can go there, but don't make sure you don't lose your product market fit to a competitor. If it is given to the competitor, then you will lose the battle. Don't share your idea with your competitor also. What you do. This is very, very important. So here it is a continuous learning curve, not only to the growth stage, but up to majority. You need to continuously upgrade and enhance your product so that it is compatible with each and every set of the customer. So product market fit should be continuously giving more revenue from the growth towards the maturity. Clear? And these are the matrices. So I told you before, product market fit, you have to focus on traction, and now you have to focus on acquisition, activation, and referral. That is your growth. So what is the summary finally for this product market fit discussion? So these are the key points which we discussed. First, you need to find a sizable market for which you are going to experiment. Second, you need to identify a problem which you are going to solve for a customer. And once you identify the problem, identify the innovator and offer them MVP so that they can try and share your learning. And based upon that, you can create a business model to support early adopter. And thereafter, you continuously learn, measure and learn, but do the testing, and thereafter repeat the cycle so that you will have a good product market. So in a nutshell, what we discussed, that is a summary. So with that note, I am closing the session. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Yeah. Any questions? Feel free to ask. You can test the MVP prototype with the potential customers also. It's very simple. But the first set of the customers are always your internal employees, your family members, your stakeholders, your friends, your colleagues. First try with them, get their feedback, and then offer that to the innovator. That's how you can test the MVP.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I hope you're doing well. This
Yes.
is I had a question wherein I want to ask how is product management different from management consulting? And if there is something similar in that, what is it?
Okay. Product manager role, I explain you that this person is a chief executive officer of a single product. Whereas management consulting is a different vertical in which you have been hired to identify the problem which organization is facing. Suppose complete revenue is going down quarter on quarter, or your employees of the company are leaving, or suppose they are not, or suppose your complete revenue in the supply chain has been drastically faced problem, or suppose you are not able to sell the product into the market, or whenever you are going to launch a product, you always fail. These are the typical questions when problems when you are facing. Then you need to hire management consultant who are working with your stakeholders, your product team, your customers to identify why this problem is coming. Why every time you face the failure? What is the problem? They will deep dive, do the analysis of the previous projects, and then they will provide you the recommendations. So you can say they are the SMEs of multiple domains.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Welcome. Yeah, any other question?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So my question is that in case of product manager, all the responsibilities lie within the boundaries of a product only, or are the other piece of marketing also considered?
One person is majorly responsible, that is product manager, but product marketer is also handling the role of marketing of the product into multiple channels. But decision authority lies with the product manager. So if you have been working in a big MNC, then product manager, product marketer, both are working together. But in case of startup, the one single person is handling the dual.
All right, thank you so much.
Welcome. Any other question?
One more question, sir. I had to ask that as a person starts off with product management as a career, so when he enters into a competitive industry in the company, what is the main aim and what is the basic steps that he goes through or he probably does in order to maximize the customer retention? Like the person who would probably being was in product management department would have retained the customers first and aimed on to bringing about new customers in the future, right? So if you enter as a new person in a company, what are the basic steps that a product manager would take?
The first step is to understand about the industry and their customers. I repeat, the first step is to understand about industry and then the customer. If you are not able to understand about the industry and the customers, then you are making a huge mistake, because their attitude, their behavior always come. If you don't understand their psychology, then how they are going to use the product, and if they are not using the product, then automatically your product will fail. That's why I mentioned 9 out of the product always fail. That is a major reason. So as a product manager, this is your first step. You cannot blindly start building the product. You need to have a thorough awareness about the market, what is going on, what is the industry trend is going on, what are the typical categories of the customer, how many type of customers are there, how much revenue they are going to bring up, what are their needs, what are their expectations. Sometimes customers are giving focus more towards the want, sometimes customers are focusing on more towards the need. So what priority you are going to offer them, that is also very important.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
So if the product is successful, the product manager effort will be appreciated. If the product manager product fail to launch in the market, then it is complete responsibility of the product manager.
Great, thank you, sir.
Welcome. Any other question?
So there are cases when we have a monopoly in the market. So in those cases, how can we actually launch a successful product?
Which type of monopoly you are asking?
So not a specific case, but like generally there are some medicines which very few companies manufacture.
Then in that case, the government plays a major role. Just like you have seen that only one online retail outlet is selling the online delivery of the medicine, and rest other are just purchasing through the chemist. So in that case, regulatory picture come into the space. So in that case, without any approval, you cannot proceed further. Same is applicable for fintech products also. Not everyone is using the wallet because of the RBI guidelines there. So you have limitations will be there. So those who can enter into the market early, they will get the approval. Same is applicable for telecom also. You rarely see that 4 or 5 players are there. In 2009, there were 14 players are there. Right now, you have only 4 players. Right? Because of government regulation. Government created major problems. So identify that industry where you can enter easily, where the entry barrier is low. If the entry barrier is high, then risk is very high.
Okay, sir. And so there was a question earlier which I missed. So, sir, it was how can we correctly identify the value proposition of our product in the market?
Value proposition you can identify based upon how much features you are incorporating, which customer need. If you are providing low amount of features as compared to the customer expectations, then your value proposition will be.
Okay, sir.
So I guess there is no further questions. So in case in future you have any query related to the product market fit or related to the product management or management consulting, you can reach out to me via LinkedIn, or my email ID is on the screen. Feel free to connect. I will be happy to assist your queries.
So I think there are no further questions. Thank you so much, sir. That was such an insightful and enlightening session. I can definitely understand the complex technicalities of launching a product for such a competitive market now. With this, we come to the end of an extremely perseverant webinar. I am sure that each one of us got to learn and imbibe a lot about product market fit. So now, on behalf of Team Mark Haven, the Marketing Society of Shahid Rajguru College of Applied Sciences for Women, I, Aditi Khattar, would like to express my gratitude to Mr. Priyank Ahuja for gracing us with their esteemed presence for this session. Your valuable and experienced insights on this very interesting topic are sure to have motivated students to explore the multitude of opportunities in the management of product. We would like to present sir with a letter of gratitude in the background with the painting made by Kritika from Yemen, third year.
Thank you so much. It's a wonderful picture.
Now, I would like to extend a hearty thanks to all the attendees for being such a patient audience. and I'm thrilled to inform everyone that we have received an overwhelming response from a multitude of universities. Finally, I'd also like to thank our teachers, Ms. Tanusha Jain, Ms. Rableen Kaur Rao, Dr. Dimpi Handa, for organizing such a great webinar and guiding us throughout this session despite the current situation. Now, we would also like to extend a heartfelt gratitude to our principal, Ma'am Payal Margot, who was a constant support during this session. Now, I request everyone to switch on their cameras for the group photograph. Thank you so much, everyone, and I hope that everyone learned a lot there. Now, you may leave the meeting.
Thank you so much, everyone. Wishing you good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
काम आर कैन एंड उसमें वो